everyone, and welcome back to the FPU Experience. We are on week 3. Can you believe that? It's been 3 weeks of this, and it's really been such an incredible time. We're so glad that you're here. We see people joining in the chat. I see Catherine Cruey.
Hang on, Britt, before you go.
Okay.
My name's Chad, I'm the online pastor, but the reason I said that is because Britt's mom is in the chat.
That's right.
We saw her name's Sherry Barclay, and thank you for being here, Sherry. Britt shared a story about you today with some people on staff, and it's so good to see and hear how God is working in your life. It's really cool to see how God's using her, but also how God is using this. And what we know is that it's not just in Sherry's life. We know so many of you would say the same thing, that God is using not just this church, but this experience right here to help people. So, all right,
That's
you can go back to welcoming other people.
No, that's
I just wanted to say hey to Sherry.
Here. And I'm Brittany Akinsola. I am one of the pastors here. I know Chad introduced himself. We see so many people joining from all over. And then we have some special guests today. These are the Everetts. And I have to tell you guys, these are some of my favorite people. We've been friends for years.
Yeah.
We met serving together at the church. You guys, every time that we have guests, you'll know this, they hate it when we do this, but these are our FPU experts for the night. You guys have been through this process. We're so excited to learn from you tonight. So do you want to go ahead and just briefly introduce yourselves and tell us maybe a little bit about you?
Yeah, so my name is Alicia Everett, and my husband Chris. We've been married for coming up on 7 years.
7 great years.
Yep, 2 kids, and yeah, here we are. Baby step 3. This is going to be really exciting to talk about and dive into with you guys. So yeah, that's us.
But they're pros at this.
Yeah,
because they've been through it. And a lot of you and us are going through it for the first time. And so we always like to bring in some people that know what it's like. It's one thing to hear from people who are kind of going through it at the same time as you, or who have gone through it in the past. But you guys have gone through it. You teach it. You help teach some of our staff.
That's right.
We were just talking before you guys hopped on with us that these guys have led e-groups for financial peace and have helped a lot of people work through this. So it's cool to have you all with us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's great to do this for our church, but also just for the people that come through our doors, because it's a great opportunity, yes, to help them steward the finances God has blessed them with, but also when you talk about personal finance, you talk about the person. So it's so much fun getting to know these people and hear the goals and the dreams that they have in their lives and giving them the opportunity to get to that point through financial literacy.
Yeah, and I think too, like whenever you think about personal finance, it's personal.
Yeah.
So they're really inviting you into a special place, you know? So when you have that invitation, it's one that you really want to cherish and also be, get steward of that time and just that space with them.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Catherine Cruey said, I agree. She's loved this experience. So I really need this on my life. Amen. We all do, Catherine. That's why we're here. I see Costa Rica in the house. What's up, Forella? Did I say that right? Andrea Edwards from Virginia. Lots of people here tonight. One of the things that you guys know we look forward to doing every time that we come together is also giving a few things away. We like to invest into your journey, your FPU journey, and help set you guys up for success. So I also see a birthday in the house.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Leeza Diaz Oliaz. You guys can try to help me out here.
Yeah, keep going. Keep going. That's good.
Whatever.
Happy birthday. And
happy birthday.
Because you chose to be here with us on your birthday, I want to send you, we have this contentment journal.
Look at this.
Right here.
You don't have to zoom in or anything.
You don't, but we're going to send that to you for your birthday. Happy birthday. And tonight we thought we'd get a little bit, creative, maybe a little bit fun with some prizes. And so first of all, I want to know if you are here, we've been giving you steps to take every single week. So week 1, we asked you to make your budget. Week 2, we asked you to go ahead and make your plan, your snowball plan to be able to get out of debt. I want to know who actually did it. So go ahead, let me know in the chat if that was you, if you took that step. Let me know where you're at on your budget. Let me know where you're at on making your plan to actually get out of debt. And we also, for some of the prizes, we have some really fun ones that are kind of specific too. And so we're gonna be giving those out through the night. But the first person that shouts us out in the chat that they made their plan to get out of debt, we are gonna send some FPU merchandise stuff too.
It's some good stuff, y'all.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Getting out of debt to help support my newborn son.
Oh,
Amen, Kenneth. That's incredible. I love it. Carol made the budget.
Yes, Carol.
Carol I feel like I'm doing so bad with names. I'm so sorry, Carol. Carol, you know who you are. You're getting a prize. We're gonna send something your way.
Don't they have to send an email though?
You do. You have to email us at egroups@elevationchurch.org. You too, birthday girl. Go ahead and email us.
Yes.
And we'll make sure
Just
that you
those
get,
two people. Don't everybody go send that email. I want something. I want something. Hey, I saw a lot of people in the chat saying, I missed week 1 or week 2. How do I go back and catch it? Well, where you're probably joining on is Elevation Plus on a YouTube channel. And last week and week 1 are both on there as well.
Right.
So if you missed the first 2 weeks, just like this, it was a little bit different setting. We're in a different room today because we're also getting ready for Easter.
Because it's the week of Easter,
That's right.
we're prepping right now. So come back on the weekend because you're going to want to be a part.
That's right. So if you missed it, though, you can just, after this, don't leave yet, after this one, go back right on the channel that you're watching on right now, and the past couple weeks are on there, and you can catch up.
Yeah. I think I saw in the chat, Eduardo said that he was working on his student loans. I think we might have something for
we do.
that too.
Eduardo, you said? Oh yeah, there it is. Wait. Let's see here. My mom said she made her plan. Good job, Mom. That's incredible. So speaking of, student loans, if you find Eduardo, either way, we have a couple of these. I want you to let us know if student loans is your thing. We actually have it is called, let me make sure I don't mess this up, Destroy Your Student Loan Debt Bundle. That's a gift that we would like to send to someone tonight.
There he is, right there in the middle.
One of my student loans are paid off.
Nice.
Congrats.
Yeah,
Congratulations, Eduardo. That's a huge deal. Let us know if student loans is your thing. We want to send you something. We're going to pick someone to be able to send something to. And if it's not, here's what I want to know. Hopefully, you guys, the way that this works is we like to watch the video before we all come together and dive a little bit deeper into it. This week, you guys should have watched lesson 3, all about what?
All about saving up that baby step. Saving up that emergency fund.
That's right, emergency fund. I put you on the spot, that's on me. But yeah, your emergency fund. But if you didn't get to, that's all right. While you guys are dropping some stuff in the chat, why don't you go ahead and take a look at this to get caught up.
According to this statistic, 8 of the 10 of your friends are living paycheck to paycheck. That means if one check doesn't show up, they have what's called a money situation. How many of you all have ever had a money situation?
Both of you together need to agree that saving and baby step 3 has to be a priority. And you can save money if it's your priority.
Now remember, a money market account is where I want you to park it. A money market account is going to give you a better rate of return than a regular savings account. And so any bank, any place where you're doing your checking or savings, they can do a money market account. This is the one mistake people are making with emergency funds. You've got it sitting there because it's insurance, not an investment, and you need it and you use it. Guess what people forget to do? Build it back up.
Gratitude will lead you to contentment. So be grateful and thankful for what you have.
That emergency fund is a rainy day fund for you. Because now it's not a matter of if it's gonna rain, right? We know it's gonna rain. And the reality is that someone's like, Chris, you need to be more positive. I'm like, I'm positive it's gonna rain. And you know that too. And so instead of going backwards, I want us to chase down progress and start to do things that make sense. And so we come out of church and they're like, Dad, we want to go to a restaurant and eat. And I'm like, hold on, let me check the envelope. And I look in there and I'm like, uh-oh. I go, well, boys, we're going to a new restaurant. And they're like, what's the name of it? I said, it's called Mi Casa. Because your emergency fund is not to be used for fun stuff. That emergency fund is in place to protect you. And I'm telling you, if you use the same intensity that you use to get yourself out of debt, you can build this emergency fund up, and I want you to protect it. That means don't let it fritter away. Don't look at it like a vacation fund. It's not a new couch fund.
Amazing.
The new couch fund.
Yeah. That is so good. Melissa put in the chat, Melissa Santapetti, we're going to send you that student debt bundle, and we're going to help you out with that. We're looking forward to seeing the fruit that's going to come from it. So
right.
Email us at egroups@elevationchurch.org, Melissa, and we will get that sent your way. So man, I feel like we have to start digging into this because I'm super excited to talk about this. I will say, I saw that Gina Chauffeur. I'm so sorry.
You point to, I'll say the name.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you. You asked, is there anyone available for one-on-one consultation? I saw that question and I loved it because the answer is yes. If you have access to Ramsey Plus, which you all should, then in there you actually can get some insight, wisdom, and direction from our financial coaches that I say are. I feel like I am actually employed by them right now. But in there you can find some financial coaches that can help answer your questions. But I will also say, and I don't know, Chad, if we should give this away or not, but next week, when you come back, we're actually gonna have a couple of these coaches here live.
That's right.
To actually answer some fun questions.
You don't want to miss that.
Cool.
Huh?
I said you don't want to miss that.
You don't want to miss
good.
it. And so they are actually people that help a lot of people with a lot of these questions in a lot better ways than what we can. They're actually paid professionals, and we're going to have them here. We're super excited to be able to learn from them. But without further ado, I would just like to know from the highest level, with all of you guys' expertise, what you've been through. Can you talk us through baby step number 3? What are the must-knows? What have you guys learned? Just let us into what you know and what God's been teaching you. I'm dying to know.
Yeah, the biggest one, if I had to sum it all up, I would say contentment. Just from the standpoint of we had to be content in what we had, because it took us so long. It was a 5-year journey. Felt like it was 50. And it took us so long to get through to the point to where we were at baby step 3, that we then had to be like, okay, we just went through all of that. Why can't we celebrate and do something major and take this huge vacation or something like that? Well, that's because we don't have money put aside for a rainy day if something bad would have happened while we were gone or as soon as we get back. So once you get to that point where you're out of baby step 2, you then need to build up so that you have a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. And so it took us sitting down and talking through what does that look like, and actually us looking at our budget. Because theoretically you would say, all right, well, we spend about this much every single month, but really your emergency fund is just in case both of you were to lose your job, or just in case something were to happen with someone to go to a hospital. So we wanted to make sure that we had a number that we agreed upon that worked for our emergency fund. And then we were just gazelle intense, as Dave Ramsey likes to say.
Yeah.
We were gazelle intense for an additional amount of time until we got to that point.
Yeah, and I think for me, being the free spirit, really, it was a perspective shift for me. So the 5 years that it did take for us to get finally to this point, it felt like an eternity for me, because I love to buy things and spend all the money. It's just what I enjoy, okay? And, getting to baby step 3, it's like, okay, why can't we let off the gas a little bit? And he's the one who's like, well, remember we said we wanted to do these things. We wanted, that generational wealth. We wanted to have that financial freedom. Well, in order to get to that point, there's still things that we have to work through, and saving for a rainy day is one of those things, right? And so it really took me realizing, okay, I did this for almost 5 years. It may take you anywhere from, 6 to 12 months to actually save that baby step number 3. So if you want to save what it's like the 3 months, then it should take you about 6 months to save, because really your budget will shift. Where your budget was maybe, $2,000, or not your budget, your expenses, your overhead was at $2,000. Well, that included all of your debt payments and, also your 4 walls and all of the extra things you may or may not have been doing and you shouldn't have been doing, right? But once you get rid of the debt payments, your overhead reduces. So your 4 walls, your emergency fund is much smaller. So you should, with that same gazelle intensity, knock that out in no time. So why can't you do it for an additional 6 months or 12? And so I really had to be content in that and realizing, okay, it's just a perspective shift. I could do this for a little bit longer,
And what I would add, just because I've seen a couple of people mention about where you put your savings account in the chat. So the purpose of your savings account, someone asked, should it be in a high yielding savings account? It should not be there, because your savings account, if you're going based off of what we teach with Ramsey Solutions, is that your savings account is there purely for a rainy day fund. It's not supposed to be getting a high yield over anything. They say for you to put it in a money market account so that it does gain a little bit more interest on it than anything else. But the purpose of that money is not to be, it's your personal insurance policy. And the other thing that I would say is that a special way to do that is to put it into like a separate account or a bank that you don't go to a lot. My wife and I, for instance, we have our bank account with a local bank, and that is one that we do not go into a lot, so that if we go there, it's it is inconvenient for us to get to that money. That helps from something else I saw in the chat where someone said that they go out of their budget about every single month, so they're always pulling from their emergency fund. If you're doing that, then it's not really an emergency fund, it's just a part of your budget. You have to be really honest with yourself when you're creating these numbers, so that you make sure to create something that is going to actually get you through the month. We can't say that, hey, this month we're only going to spend $50 on eating out, when we know that we spend well over $100. You have to be real with yourself and honest, and make sure that you create a budget and an emergency fund that will sustain the things that life throws at you.
Yeah,
And that is a lot of really good information. This is why we call them the experts. That's amazing. I see lots of really great comments in the chat. There was a single mom that I cannot remember her name. She talked about, I've seen people talking about couples on here. I've seen, all of that right here. Okay, Chad, help me.
This is not one I can help with.
Listen, Soto.
Miss Soto.
Yes, Miss Soto. I want to send you something. We have a gift today, and it is to help teach kids about how to budget. And I know that for the next couple of weeks, whenever we have the coaches here, they're going to be able to talk us through a lot more handles than what we can, and they'll be able to talk a lot more specifically to if you are a single parent also raising kids. But for now, I would love for you to go ahead and email us at egroups@Elevation Church. And this is called an adventure pack. And so this is gonna help you teach your kids how to manage money at a very young age. And I hope that it blesses you and your family. And I'm super encouraged just to see that you are parenting, going through this thing as a single mom, super strong, super incredible. Hope this blesses you and your family.
I love that, because that's something that the first week that I was on, we talked a little bit about, is just bringing your family along with you. And if you can, I know that's something that we've been doing a lot lately, me and my wife, with our kids, is we went through FPU years ago, but just even in this season, it's kind of rekindled this idea, with our kids, and you start teaching your kids about tithing and about saving. And I love that even as a single mom, you're hey, this is something I want to instill in my kids, because that's the beginning of even this, hey, it's generational. So it's not necessarily you've got to be rich to pass on the generational finances, but you're passing on generational wisdom
Amen.
of what it
That's
means
so good.
to handle what it is that God has given to you. And so I love that. That's something we're striving a lot to do.
I love it.
I've had a chance to work with someone who was a single mom before, and the great perspective that she brought to me was I was so into trying to tell her where she could find a community to where she could do it with other women and everything. And she said, you wanna know what? I love actually doing this with my children so that they can see this. They can see budgeting in a real world situation to where they're not just in class and they hear that, oh, Johnny had $5 and he wanted to get candy. I'm able to sit down with my kids and explain to them the value of $1. And then they actually see how to make our money go further. Now, she did say that she didn't per se bring them in on the really, really hard conversations, but she did have at least 1 or 2 friends that she could lean into so that she could have that discussion with them, she could be vulnerable with them, and she could have someone that she really trusted that would help her get to where she needed to be.
Love it.
So I would really just say, just see if you can have a good confidant to help you out, to get you through those moments. Bring your kids in and let them be a part of the discussion, because like you said, that can really help them in breaking generational curses and making sure that it doesn't pass on to them and their children and their children's children. So we'll definitely be praying for you.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying the kids thing is great. Somebody, I believe Kelly, asked where she can actually find these resources.
Yeah, they're on
for
the
kids.
website.
Yeah.
They're on the Dave Ramsey website. So if you go there, go to their store, you can find all the things that we're giving away tonight. If you'd like to purchase it yourself, you can find it there in their store.
Yeah.
So that one is called an adventure pack. If you are a parents looking for something, that's what it's called.
The beautiful thing about the internet, especially Google, is a lot of these things, if you just put budget Dave Ramsey after it or kids financial literacy Dave Ramsey afterwards, it'll take you directly to a lot of resources that they have on their website. So please feel free to use that tool to kind of help you find those instead of there being like a really distinct website or anything. It's really helpful.
Hey, you guys were talking a little bit about how you did get to this 3 to 6 month savings, but you're so different. You're the free spirit, and I think for a lot of people, they might be in that situation of, hey, I'm a lot different than my spouse. How do we get on the same page about all of this? Because again, we talked about it in week 1, but I think one of the number one argument issues within marriages, probably one of the number one causes of divorce, is over finances.
Yeah.
And so how did y'all work through that when you're like, hey, my go-to is spend.
Yeah.
Like I want that, and your go-to is like, dude, no, because that can cause some tension.
Yeah.
Of like, what did y'all do to work through that?
I think the biggest thing is that helped me was just remember why we are here in the first place. Also remember how you got here. I mean, we got here because we like to enjoy and just swipe the credit card and we weren't even mindful of it and didn't realize that we were on 2 people. We didn't realize we were eating out and spending anywhere from $700 to $1,000 a month on eating out for 2 people, and then you're also buying groceries. So literally putting the numbers out there and actually seeing it made my stomach turn a little bit, just because I had no clue. I was just simply out swiping.
Yeah.
But for him, whenever we would run into those moments, it was more like, remember why you're doing this. We now, at the time, we had our firstborn, Christopher, and one of the reasons was I want him to understand what does it look like to live a life of not worrying about money. And that doesn't mean we're over the hills, just have all of this money oozing out of our ears, but we are good stewards with it and we know how to manage what we have. And that was the biggest thing for me. And I still have tough moments where I'm like, I just wanna go and get a pair of shoes. In fact, I did that today. I went and bought a pair of shoes.
I saw the bag.
But here's the thing though, having that budget, it gives you permission. So each month we have some money budgeted for ourselves to enjoy and to spend it on whatever you want to spend it on. And that for me was really helpful. So having that compromise with your spouse, I think is very important to, just come to an agreement. Okay, so we're gonna spend maybe $50 or $100, whatever the case may be, on whatever it is that you want. I won't question it. But if you go over, we need to have a conversation about it at that point. Like, what is that number for you? And once you establish what that threshold is, if something costs $50 over your budgeted item, then that's when we need to have a conversation and say, hey, this is how much it costs. And I think that's the beauty of going through FPU in general. It really does help marriages, with communication and just leaning on one another in those tough moments as well. So I would say for us, it was that compromise, because he had to give in a little bit. I mean, happy wife, happy life. That's a real thing, okay?
And part of the way that I would do it too is my wife is very visual. So something that I might do is if there's a month where we blow over our budget, I'll say, just think if we would have planned accordingly where we could have used this extra money. Or you've always said that you wanted this. If we, instead of us eating out and eating all these fancy restaurants, if we were to put that money into this account over here, then just think in a couple of months, you could have got that beautiful dress that you wanted or those shoes that you wanted. And having something to where she could have a goal that she's pushing towards. Or even when you're doing the baby steps, each step maybe having a goal there. Or even when you're doing your emergency fund, where it's like, hey, when we get to the 1 month mark, we can do this. When we get to the 2nd month mark, we can do this. Having goals there to help us progress to a certain point, but then also being very, very real when I see that when we're still going through this, we had just had our 2nd born, and it was like, hey, she needs something right now to get through this point. And I'm just gonna pause everything for a couple of weeks so that my wife can be okay and we can do something here. Again, this is personal finance. This is not a test to where you have to do every single thing to get an A. This is you looking and making sure that whatever you do, it works for you in your life. And you, at the end of the day, have to just hold yourself accountable towards it. Make sure that if you do reward yourself, that you don't fall too far off to where now you can't get right back on the horse, but make a personal decision with your spouse, or if you're doing it all by yourself, make sure you're very disciplined with yourself. Like, I need a break this month. This was hard. This is what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to get right back on next week.
That's really good. I see lots of married couples in the chat. Andrew and Jamaria Ortiz, they talked about how they have a budget meeting every month. My husband is I was about to say making me do this. I'm the free spirit one. He's the accountant, like for real. But actually, it's not that bad.
No.
It's not that bad. I love the rule that we got week 1. Like, if you're the free spirit, you have to just show up. And he makes it really easy for me to understand, and I've been really appreciative of it. So we appreciate all of you nerds out here helping get some of us free spirits straight. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. But I also just love hearing and seeing all of the testimonies going in the chat. Lots of people that are debt-free, paying off stuff. They're just like a payment or a month away from paying off loans. It's just been really cool to see all of that going in the chat. So thank you guys for sharing. We love that we can come here every week and have a community where we can share and be vulnerable, learn from each other, see what's working, what's maybe not working for us. And so I just appreciate, and it's really, really cool seeing everyone share in the chat. I think we also have another thing that I also want to give away. And so one more question that I want to pose is, do we have any newlyweds? Any newlyweds that are joining us? What is a newlywed? Less than a year?
Yeah, that's good.
Less than a year. Any newlyweds, people married less than a year, let us know in the chat. We have a newlywed gift pack that we want to give away to help set you guys up for success in your new marriage. So let us know who you are.
And by the way, I saw someone said they're a single free spirit. I just want to let you know or give you this tip. Find an accountability partner when you're going through this, someone who will really challenge you and they understand what your goal is, and you give them permission to give pushback. And when you have that one person, then I think, being a single free spirit, it's completely fine. There's someone out there who will be able to help you. And that could be your best friend, or it could be someone who's not really in your everyday circle, but more like a mentor or someone like that. But I think that, having an accountability partner will be it will be a really good tip that I would share with you anyways.
Yeah, I think I saw someone got married on February 22nd.
Yeah.
2/22.
Shelby.
Oh,
Cox.
nice.
That's a cool date. Yeah,
I know.
you win.
That's
You
really
win,
cool.
Shelby. Email us. I feel like everyone knows it at this point, but email us at egroups@elevationchurch.org. And let us, our team will get some information. We'll send you that married couples pack. Congratulations to all the newlyweds. Wow, we have so many people that are like
in
newlyweds. Yeah, in the chat. That's
February.
really awesome. Congratulations.
March 26th, that's my grandma's birthday, y'all.
Any additional words of wisdom?
I would just encourage you, you can do this. Because I think whenever we're going through this, especially when if you're just starting out and you're in baby step 1, you're really trying to figure out how in the world am I going to get $1,000 and I can't even, there's still more month than money, right? I just want to encourage you that you can do this and you've done harder things. And the reason I say that is just when you look back over your life, you're like, okay, I've been through something tough before, and pull from that experience. And then when you're in baby step 2, there's really that discipline that's coming into play. But the biggest thing, going into baby step 3, is remembering that baby steps 1 and 2, they're carrying you over into the next phase of this. I will not sit here and say it gets easier, but I think that through this process, you get stronger. And as you move into baby step 3, then 4, 5, and 6, and then you're just giving and giving, that's our ultimate goal. Yeah. Remember that and allow that to carry you through. But for whoever is feeling like, I absolutely can't do this, you can do it. I promise you can do this. It's hard, but you're gonna get stronger throughout this process.
Yeah, with the biggest thing that I always try to talk to people about is the name of this course is Financial Peace University. And it truly is the peace that we get from God, that peace that just transcends all understanding. For when the shutdown first happened, we had peace in our finances because of how we communicate about our finances. We had peace in our life because of that. And the communication that we started with each other through our finances, it carried us through that difficult year that we all went through. This is not educational things to just help you from a financial standpoint. Because your finances are so personal, this would give you peace in so many areas of your life. And when you really get to this point to where you're in baby step 3 for your emergency fund, just hold on a little bit longer. Because once you get to the end of that tunnel, I can't tell you how peaceful it is to know that you have a security blanket to fall back on. You have that umbrella, as Chris Hogan says in the video, for a rainy day.
Yeah.
And it is truly something to say when you have that peace that someone, again, when 2020 first happened and people were kind of panicking, we looked at each other and we're like, we're good. Not to mention, we were pregnant with a baby on the way. We knew that we had the money to pay for the birth, and we still had our emergency fund.
Yeah,
and it's all based off of those principles.
And I'll share this quick story with you guys. When everything started happening just in the world, we know what it is, right? I had actually lost my job. And because we had an emergency fund in place, losing my job, it wasn't this huge deal where we were freaking out and trying to figure out, what are we gonna do? We had our emergency fund. We were able to cash flow our birth. We were able to continue to pay our bills and hit, having those 4 walls. Now, we weren't, doing all the extra things, but that's okay, because at the end of the day, the emergency fund is to make sure your house is taken care of. And literally, we experienced the purpose of the emergency fund. I lost my job. I was pregnant, had a baby at home now with 2 kids. And just having that security was everything and so helpful during that time.
And to add to that, answer some of the questions I just saw about having a fixed income. For over a year, we had a fixed income because we were a one-income family. And it was based off of, at our worst moment, what do we think we would bring in for the month? And that is what we budgeted everything off of. If we ever made anything over, then we would just put it into the emergency fund. If our emergency fund is already built, then it might go into another fund where it's like, hey, if we do have another bad month, this is just a little bit more to have in there so that we don't have to go into our emergency fund. So yes, we had 2 emergency funds where there was the one that we didn't touch, but then there was another one that like, hey, if we ever have a month that's less than what we budget for, that's our bad month, like we'll have a little bit of cushion that is actually there. So again, it's personal finance. So whatever you think works best for you, usually you want to try to figure out what's the lowest number that you can live off of and the lowest number that you would actually bring in, and then kind of just live off of it from there.
That's great.
I love it. So much good stuff. Also the chat. If you I love you guys in the chat so much. It takes everything in me not to laugh out loud sometimes. Keybird7. She's like, single people like free gifts too. And so Keybird7, email us at egroups@elevationchurch.org. And I'm going to send you something for free just because you said that. And then there was someone else in the chat that they said, just FYI, Chad Solo has a deeper voice than Chris Hogan. And I thought that was incredible. You guys are a trip. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys for talking us through your experience. We really appreciate it. You guys, we learned a lot from you tonight. I learned a lot from you tonight.
For sure.
And people were shouting you guys down in the chat. And so thank you guys for being here. Okay, next week, Chad.
Yes, next week. First of all, I just want to say it's so important. Y'all are talking about this, and it's difficult to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and I know you guys
So
are saying
true.
that it's a hard journey, and we don't take that for granted by any means. It's not easy to go through and make these budgets and sit down and address the things that are doing this in your life, and to sit down and be like, oh man, I spend that on eating out? That's me. You know what I mean?
so
Like, how do
true.
you deal with me? You know, when I'm the one doing it. And so the best thing for you though is this. Is just to keep showing up like this, and to keep coming back and saying, you know what, I need this accountability, and I need these people around me
So
to help me along in this process. Because especially for those of you who are saying like, hey, I'm single, it's just me. How do I deal with just me? I don't have the partner to say hey, you're doing that wrong.
That's
you shouldn't be doing that. That's why we do this. Not just for single people, but really just for everybody to have some accountability. So make it a priority. If you haven't set this as a reminder over the next couple of weeks, we have another few weeks of this. And next week, we're going to be talking with some coaches. And we're going to have some people from FPU with us via Skype. They won't be sitting here, but we're gonna get the opportunity to talk to them and ask them some questions. And I know a lot of questions are coming through the chat all the time, and some of them that I'm like, I can't address that one because I don't know the answer to it. Next week, we might have the answers here.
That's right.
I'm on the screen. So that is what we'll look forward to next week.
Yeah, we're super excited about it. We hope that you'll join us. Like Chad said, all these questions that you have that we can't answer for you, that's okay. We're gonna get someone here that can. So make sure that you come back here, same time, same place next week. Thank you guys so much for making it a priority to be here. We love you guys. And like we did last week, we love seeing your prayer requests come through. And our teams, we just loved praying over you and what it is that you're believing God for. So if that's you, if you would like prayer, you can email us at egroups@elevationchurch.org. I'd love to see you do that. Again, we consider it an honor to be able to walk along this journey with you. And so make sure that if that's you, that you know that you have your church is here. We want to be praying with you. We want to stand with you. We want to walk through this with you. So let us know so we can be praying. And Chad, would you pray us out?
I would love to.
All right.
I would love to. God, we thank you for just this gift and this opportunity to use technology, God, to connect with people from all over the world, literally from all over the world. whether it be the morning or the evening, wherever people are joining from, God, I pray that you would just bless everybody who's joining tonight or today or this afternoon, or maybe somebody who's watching this back later on, a couple months down the road, God. We know that everything comes from you. First and foremost. Yes. And we are just trying our best to steward what it is that you're entrusting to us. Yes. And so this is one of the ways that we want to do it, God. We want to steward the finances that you entrust to us in the best way possible. It's not easy, God. That's why we need your help. Yeah. We need you at the very center of it from day one. And so maybe some of us are realigning some things in our life. Maybe some of us are readjusting some plans. Maybe some of us are breaking some bad habits. Yes. But we would just ask for your help in every step of the way, God. And I thank you for these resources. I thank you for people who come along and are able to help us through these different seasons, God. And God, we're just believing you for even better as we continue to place you at the center of our lives each and every day. In your name we pray. Everybody said,
Amen. Amen. Bye, guys. We'll see you back here next week.